Welcome to this Esko Software Solution series. In this episode, we will be covering WebCenter Quickstart, a cloud-based artwork management system. All participants have been muted, and at the end of this demonstration, we will unmute for Q&A. My name is Bart Meersschaert, and I will be your host today. Stay tuned for additional sessions. An event calendar will be made available on esko.com/brand solutions. So let's start with a quick introduction on WebCenter Quickstart. As mentioned, WebCenter Quickstart is a cloud-based artwork management system. How does that differ from WebCenter? Well, WebCenter is a collaborative workflow solution that guides your team through the entire process of content creation all the way to distribution. WebCenter is a blank canvas. It offers tons of functionality. As mentioned, content management, content approval, artwork approval, workflow. It's only waiting to be implemented by our solution architects. Here is an example of what WebCenter could look like. It has features such as content briefing, assigning and completing tasks for different members, reviewing and approving artwork, version control, project dashboards, reporting, managing, storing assets and content, and so on and so on. So typically, when we go to a brand owner, we would look at the current state. We would analyze your current state, and we would implement WebCenter in order to capture a digital footprint of what the future state should look like. That includes different stakeholders that need to be defined, groups and roles, task specifications, the way you want WebCenter to look and feel, configure different dashboards for different stakeholders, search criteria, artwork approval workflows, adding the possibility to connect to other systems like PLM systems that you might have in your company, and then of course train the users and the admin. So that would be a full WebCenter implementation. Now, some customers and some brands don't need that full-blown system. You might only need a quick, easy to deploy, pre-configured setup. And that is where WebCenter Quickstart comes in. So Quickstart is essentially a pre-configured, easy to deploy system that allows you to manage your artwork process for new, rework, and updates. And of course, we allow you to customize it to a certain degree to meet your requirements, because no two companies are alike. Here you can see the standard artwork management process that is included with WebCenter Quickstart for brands. From left to right, you can see a project manager kicking off a project, briefing, where we capture different briefing information from different stakeholders like marketing, regulatory, or technical people. A project manager finally looks over this brief and approves this brief, and now we move on to the artwork creation phase, where an internal or external agency provides the artwork, uploads the artwork, and that artwork goes to an approval process where single or multiple people look at it, and we go possibly through different iterations. Once we finally approve the artwork, we then have the possibility to also go into a reprographic creation. That can go through an approval, and then finally we can accept and go into production. The benefits of this quick start system is that it follows best practice artwork process flows. It has forms built in that allow you to kick off new projects, centralized briefing, the approval process is digitized, and dashboards are available to increase visibility. You can have as many approval cycles as you want, easy and fast to search for assets. We will brand it to your requirements. It's a hosted infrastructure, so you don't have to worry about any of the IT aspects of the solution. Expert-led training and materials, and best of all, you'll be up and running in less than a week. Now, as mentioned, we already talked about WebCenter and how that differs from Quick Start. This little matrix will show you the cost feature axis, where we have a variety of different WebCenter solutions. The one with the lowest cost and also the lowest feature set would be Share&Approve. Join us in an upcoming version to have a look at what that looks like. Today, we'll be looking at WebCenter Quickstart for brands. There are other flavors like WebCenter Quickstart for life sciences. That is a validated solution, similar to the one you will see today. Then we have a more robust solution, mid-tier. And finally, we have the full-blown WebCenter, which will require to capture all those additional requirements. So without further ado, let's have a closer look at this WebCenter Quickstart for brands. In order to do that, we are going to look at a beer label today. So here in Adobe Illustrator, you can see an example of that beer label, and using my studio plugins, I can see what that can would look like. So this is a new flavor that we want to bring to the market. We already have a briefing form available here in Word with project information, market content that needs to go on there, regulatory information, some print information, and some additional images here for reference. So let's go ahead and log in to our WebCenter Quickstart starting page. So here we see our starting page, which is hosted here in the cloud. And I'm going to log in here as a project manager. Logging in as a project manager, I can see on this home screen an overview of all my projects that are currently running in my company. I can also quickly see the status of those projects. On top here, I have a count of how many projects are in the approval stage, in the artwork stage, and how many are on time or overdue. On the right-hand side, I can filter out between approvals and or tasks and show tasks that have been assigned to myself or a group that I am part of. On the right-hand side, we can see here our preferences, allowing me to display WebCenter Quickstart in the language of my choice and change, for example, also units. Going back to my home screen, I can see active projects. I can see these projects and filter on attributes. For example, if I only want to see the beverage projects, I can go ahead and use that as a search feature. Then I can drill down and see how many of those are in a specific status. The active calendar shows me a little more detailed view of the actual and planned date for each of these projects and each of the stages in which those projects are. I can zoom in or zoom out to show my calendar. Tasks show me all tasks that are currently running. And again, I can search on assignee or on who these tasks have been assigned. This also gives me a good idea about utilization, so I can see how many tasks have been assigned to each of the stakeholders. Creating a project will do in just a second. Let's have a quick look at the asset library that contains all files and assets that went through the workflow. Again, on the left-hand side, I have search criteria that allow me to display. And I can display these in a variety of different ways, in a card style, in a grid style, or in a focused layout. Asset report gives me some reporting on approval duration. My completed project report shows me any on time or overdue. And my project stage report shows me the total duration for each of the stages for my projects. Whenever you see this little X, that allows you to save these results to Microsoft Excel. Help and training is always a click of a button away. For example, in the case I start using this and this is the first time I encounter WebCenter Quickstart, I can click on this video, and as an approver, I can get an explanation of how to use the viewer and how to approve assets. Okay, let's go back to our home screen and let's create a new project for our beer label. So we're going to use the SKU number. So I'm going to copy this SKU number here and put my initials in front of it, beer label, and this is for the fall of 2021, and the SKU number I'm going to paste in here. This is going to have to be ready by the end of the summer. We can set a priority code, so this is a standard job, and it is new artwork. Notice as I fill in this briefing form, some of these parameters are mandatory, others are not mandatory. Let's go ahead and just copy this general program information into my description. As I do this, notice also that I have access to text controls, and I can pick from predefined categories, and this will be part of that customization when we implement this at your company. So this will reflect the category and the brands that you are currently using today. So in this case, I am just going to say that it's an energy drink. I have not really programmed the beer flavors in here. This is going to be for a US market. The item code right here, I already specified. Let's say that that is my SKU number. The pack type is going to be a can. The printing process is going to be in Flexo. And then you see that we have some additional attributes that I can fill in. Again, these are customizable, and we will set this up for you as part of this implementation. Inviting members, we can do by picking individual assignees that are part of groups and part of roles. For this proof of concept, we'll just accept the default users and create this project. As I create this project, you can see on my home screen as a project manager that I have a nice overview here on the right-hand side of all the attributes that I captured, and I can even start a discussion, new beer can 2021, and I can ping everybody in the group, exciting new flavor that we will launch for 2021. This will keep all my stakeholders abreast, and everybody will be able to subscribe to these discussions. Again, keeping all that communication right here in this digital WebCenter Quickstart framework. Notice that as the project kicked off, a task was directed to the marketing person to capture additional marketing information. So let's go ahead and play the role of marketing and see what that marketing person would be looking at. We see a slightly different home screen with a different focus area. And I can see here immediately that my project right here is in the briefing phase. And I can also see here on the right-hand side that this marketing brief here is waiting for me. So let's go ahead and execute that task by simply clicking on the execute button. This will bring me into my task, showing me all the information that was previously captured, allowing me now to upload my information. So again, to make things a little easier, I will go ahead and copy and paste this marketing information in here. Notice that I can also upload reference art. I can do that by either browsing as I am showing you right here. So if I go to my beer label, I can see here some files that I can use for upload. So here, for example, we have a image of what the last year's label looked like. So this again is for ref only, so that the artwork person will know how to design this for a can. I can also search through approved assets, which will show me my library. And I can also upload any other documents pertaining to this project. And that could, for example, be this Word document that I've been using so far. So you're not restricted to graphic files only. I can see the discussion that was started earlier. I can go ahead and answer or ask additional questions. And finally, I can complete my task. As the marketing person completes his or her task, that now disappears from that to-do list, and the project moves right along to the next step, which is the artwork provider. For this demonstration, we're skipping some additional steps where other members could capture briefing information. But here we can see now that the artwork provider has been tasked to create artwork right here for this project. The artwork provider can be an internal or external person. And we can see here on the left-hand side that this person's privileges within WebCenter Quickstart are scaled back, right? That person does not have as many access rights within the project as, for example, let's say a project manager. Let's go ahead and execute that task. I can see as an artwork provider all the information that was left before by the project manager and the marketing person. I even have access to some of these reference documents which I can download, which will help me to generate and finally upload my file for approval. In Adobe Illustrator, I can create this file, and I can upload this to WebCenter Quickstart from within Illustrator, or I could come in here and manually upload this file as I'm showing you right here. So this is the first version that was generated, and as an artwork provider, I can now complete this task. Obviously, as we go through this project, these files will need to be inspected by an approver. This approver can be assigned during setup, and that approver will now be asked to look at that label and approve that label. So here we can see all the documents that have been uploaded so far. And we can see here this file that is waiting for approval. It is pending. So I can click on this file to fire up the WebCenter Viewer, and let's go ahead and do that. And here we can see that indeed we're looking at the first version of this file. We have some basic controls to navigate, to measure, inspect text, and compare versions. And of course, most importantly of all, leave annotations. Annotations will allow a person who is inspecting this to, leave some comments around certain areas of the file in case, the person would notice certain mistakes. Let's say this phone number is not accurate. He or she could leave information there. I can see here, for example, there seems to be a problem with this barcode, so I can leave information there. I can also do things like inspecting the color breakdown, so I can see here that this is made up of CMYK. Also, this feature here allows me to visualize a breakdown of these different channels. So we can see that this is a process color job. We can measure distances. We also have tools in here that allow us to measure barcode information to make sure the proper barcode is used. And we can even search for text inside this file. So if I type in the word can, I see there are 3 instances of the word can right there. So I can search through this text. I can go back to a total view. I can also detect fonts. By clicking on the font, I can see the font type and size that was used, and I can also inspect minimum font size. So a whole bunch of powerful tools in here. On the left-hand side, I can see any discussions or any annotations that were left by different approvers. Finally, we can approve or reject this file. So in this case, I'm going to reject, and I'm asked to specify reasons for rejection. So this could be one or multiple reasons, and again, I can leave a comment requesting the artwork provider to make these changes and upload a new version. So as this file gets rejected, you'll see that a new request has been made to the artwork provider, and that person will now be able to see all the comments that were left on that specific SKU. Right here, I can see an artwork revision was requested. I can see right here the version, and I can make those changes in Adobe Illustrator. So let's say, for example, that I went ahead and created and updated that and made those changes. For example, here the alcohol percentage was wrong. the barcode is fixed, and some other changes have been made. After that is done, this new version can be uploaded right here by the artwork provider. So this will be the second version. A comment can be left, updated changes, have a look, and this file will now go back through a new approval cycle. As this file goes back through a new approval cycle, the approver will now be able to compare both versions with one another. As were before, I only saw one specific version. Now, this second version right here will allow me to compare the changes with the previous version. So we can see here again that Approver 1 has been tasked by the system here, WebCenter Quickstart, to look at this file. Here I can see this is version 2, and I can go back and compare this with version 1. I can highlight the differences between these two files. So as I do that, the software will show me all the differences between them and highlight that difference, as you can see here. We can also go into what we call a blinking mode, which will show me some changes that were made. Here, for example, the phone number was updated, the barcode was moved, and on this side we can see that a space was removed and the alcohol percentage was updated. This can be viewed in different fashion to make absolutely sure that the requested changes have been made, and then finally we can select the file that we want to approve, which is the current version, and then that file can go through the remainder of the workflow. Once the file is accepted, the file will end up in the asset library, and it will be available for further processing. So we're coming to the end of the WebCenter Quickstart for Brand demonstration. In this demonstration, we have seen that Quickstart is a great way for you to have a digital framework that allows you to capture briefing information, go through approval cycles, and finally release those files to production. We have seen all these benefits listed here, and if you would be in the market for a different flavor, again, keep in mind that Esko has a variety of different WebCenter flavors available to fit your exact needs. Feel free to reach out to your local salesperson to set up a dedicated demonstration. Thank you, and see you in an upcoming session.